You said, why don't Christian men approach
women in church?
Can we address the assumption in the question first?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I do approach women in the church.
Ooh.
Ow, ow! What's up? What's up? Look at you talking. Interruption.
And the oil ran from his head to his
Mike
beard.
don't read his Bible.
I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all caught us right in the middle.
Mike ain't saved. All right, go ahead.
We're
Y'all
evangelizing.
caught us right in the middle of a conversation. I don't even know what we were talking about. But welcome to Guys Chat. We're just going to kick it and talk about random stuff. Everybody's going to pick a topic if they want to. We're going to talk about, of course, the number one thing that people talk about right now. What do you think it is? So let's just go ahead and knock that out. That way we can get to the good stuff.
Corona?
No.
All right. Like, what?
So will we timestamp this video so people know?
The number one thing. Sorry. Go ahead, host.
Okay, sorry. We'll get to that. But I'm Mike, by the way. Who are you?
Philip.
Shane.
That's it?
Yep.
All right, so that's who we are. If you don't know us, then you might not.
Nah, you know.
So let's get into it. So let's go ahead and knock this out, right? We're going to talk about the question that a lot of women have. Why don't Christian men, approach Christian women in the church?
How is we supposed to? All right.
You know it's always either single or relationship.
Okay.
You know that's what you talking about some travel. Anybody talking about no travel? We ain't going nowhere.
We knew what it was. I just didn't want to,
You didn't want to be. Let's just go ahead and knock it out and get it out the way so we can talk about things that are on a different level.
You said, why don't Christian men approach
Women in church.
Can we address the assumption in the question first?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I do approach women in the church.
Ooh.
Ow, ow. Just not.
Ding, 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 ding,
Just
ding.
not you?
I'm just playing. We just
Mike
playing.
said.
So okay.
It's like, nah. No, that's it.
Yeah, we don't have any. I'm sorry, women folk. There's no women on camera to speak for you guys right now. But I would like to as well to get into the mind of someone asking that question. Mm-hmm. Are you making a generalization that all men don't approach? Or is there something about a particular guy that you would like to approach that you've not had a good encounter with? But there's a variety of things. And I don't think church is a microcosm. But let's say this, maybe they're trying to focus on the Lord.
Okay. There's that.
Okay.
Right, she's in church like, why he not approaching me? Girl, I'm here for God.
What other settings are like? What is the environment that you guys are in? I think I've heard a lot of times too. It's like to actually have shared spaces. Like, are you in any ministries at church? Do you just come on Sunday and hang around your car for 5 minutes after, or are you involved in your church? Maybe if I think a lot of times, I know for me, I was heavily involved, whether it's youth ministry, I can't sing, but if you were on the choir, wherever, like, are you actually involved somewhere where you can share space enough where someone can see you beyond just how you look? Because they say guys only look at looks, right? But it's like, no, we got to know you a little bit. But yeah, I mean, those are some thoughts. But I don't think you can paint a broad brushstroke and say guys in church don't approach women. There's partly that, and then there is a group of Christian men who are scared and passive. So there's that too.
Right.
But,
Yeah. Because that question comes up so often, and women want to know, but it's like I don't know if we're not providing that information well, and maybe it is some basis to it. Maybe some Christian men aren't, and they're assuming it's probably most of the population. Do you think most of the population of Christian men aren't approaching women in church because they're scared, or is it because of something else? What do you think the biggest reason is? So you guys mentioned yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just throwing another wrinkle too, is if we actually break down demographics and statistics. I was struggling with that one. Statistics. There are more women than men in the majority of churches.
Okay.
Therefore, it's like a plethora of women. So therefore, maybe the guys at your church who might be a vast minority is like how many women you expect them to be approaching.
Right.
Okay.
Because there's only 10% guys. We can each approach 2 women and still leave out 60% of the women.
Okay.
That don't get approached. I don't see it. I think it may be more of what we were just discussing, because in my church, the churches I'm involved with, that have a lot of young people, single people, I see women getting approached all the time. And I see that men get turned down. Like, I see the dynamic of relationships starting and ending. So I don't really see that in the church, but I would suspect if a guy's not approaching you, and if a woman sees a guy that he's not approaching her, then I would say, look, glean from his field, as Ruth did, right? Be around him. I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything to figure out. I think allow him to focus on God. You focus on God, but make yourself known. And I continue to differ with the premise of the question, but my advice would be that, like, if you see a guy, kind of get in his way, but don't.
I mean, and that's my thing. I like this woman, by the way, but I think she's a great public figure. But Aisha Curry was talking about this a while ago, where it's like, I know my husband loves me, but I just want attention and I'm like, it just made me think, sorry, women folk again. Like, what are you expecting? Guys. Do you expect to be called down like, hey, yo, girl, like you get on the street?
Yo,
like,
sweetheart.
I think that's the juxtaposition is the type of attention women will get in the club or walking down the street or in your little sundress or whatever. Like, do you expect that to carry over into church?
That's a great point.
Or how can a man in the church not be perceived as passive, but he's also not on the street like, hey, yo, ma, what's good? Like, you know what I'm saying? I think the energy women might be looking for, it might not be the same in the church.
That's a great point.
Yeah. What was interesting about the answers is this perspective is totally different than what women are perceiving. Women are literally...
What have you heard women say?
Because they're scared, because they're intimidated, and they're saying that all the time. But my rebuttal to that is, even if a man is intimidated or scared, if he wants that, he gonna get over that to get to his prize, what he wants. Any single time. I was just talking to my mom about it. She says, yes, if a man is scared, that's fine, but he will pursue what he wants to pursue. I remember I was talking to this girl. We went on a date once. She was like, yeah, I just don't, I think the Lord told me you're not in. I'm like, oh. So you know what I did? I said, okay, I see what you're saying, but I know the Lord too, so I did what Hezekiah did. And I went back and was like, Lord, look, I know you said I only got...
My Lord's voice is loud.
I know you said I only got a few, you might have said this to her, but I want that.
Yeah.
Hey.
I fasted. I fasted and prayed. Straight up. Fasted and prayed and did whatever I needed to do to get him to be like, look, you might have said this to his, but I need to hear from you.
Did you sway her?
Huh? It didn't work. Clearly didn't work. If you watch the previous other segment, I'm still single. But I say that to say that if we want something, even if it's I'm scared or they say no or whatever, I'm gonna get over that and figure it out, and I'm gonna try and shoot my shot. So
I agree. I think the thing that you have to approach is, do you want to have to strong arm a man to step to you?
Yeah.
One of my friends always used to make fun of me, and I'm a nice guy. I don't think I'm passive.
Debatable.
But he was like, man, you are the friend zone MVP. A girl's gonna have to propose to you for you to get married. I'm like, no, bro, what you mean? But it's like, I'm not like, hey, come here, girl. But I do think sometimes Christian men can fall in that boat too, where it's like, well, God didn't say anything yet. I don't know if I should. But I do agree. At some point, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, do I want this person?
Yeah.
Right.
And then just like,
that's
it. Like, I have to confront every bit of fear. But I would say a word of advice to my sisters is, you don't want to have to force somebody to step to you.
Yeah. Right.
Because if he liked you enough, it would be clear.
Right.
Exactly. So I think that's a totally different perspective than what people are hearing. And maybe they're hearing from others, again, that whole fear thing. But like we said, we will figure it out if we really want it. And if a guy does not do it, he's not ready. Or not that he's not ready, but he not for you. You want somebody to really come towards you and want you for who you are. Yeah. Like Shayun said, like you don't want to have to force somebody to go down the aisle. No, if he's not stepping to you and realizing the value you have is nothing against you, he's just not for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I would like women to understand, that it's not anything wrong with you. I remember even our church mother said, hey, is everything okay? Because all the women at the church, all the girls think there's something wrong with them because y'all not approaching them. The church mother told me that. And I'm like, no, we're serving, we're living life, and we're not, there's nothing wrong with them. We just don't have an interest in them for whatever reason. Yeah. It's nothing wrong with them. It's just not for us at this time, or we choose to say it's not for us, and that's fine for us to do. and you don't want somebody to just, all right, well, let me just take you because you're there.
Yeah.
Can I throw a little alternate perspective in there?
Sure, please.
I do think that men, on average, are more sexual, if I can just say that.
You can't.
More sexual. Right? So we are, by nature, what Shane was saying, one is like, hey, yo, mom, what's up? Like, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? But when we're in the church, I think we're taught to dial that back. We're in church, right? Dial that back. And I think that a lot of guys who have gotten to a place where they can control themselves in that way, they're in church and they want to show self-control. Right? So I think women do get used to what men do on the outside. And on the inside of the church, I think men learn how to control that part of themselves. And in church, it may seem like he's not pursuing the women because it's not what I'm doing here. It's not what I'm here for, right? So I think there may be some of that dynamic going on where if you met me at work or you met me at school, there may be a different interaction, right? But if you meet me in church, I'm like, praise the Lord, sister. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I'm here to do this. I'm here to do that. And even while you might see her, she might see you, it's just like you may not want to be perceived in the way that you're perceived elsewhere. You want to be careful. I think a lot of men may want to be careful of that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think too, it's like there's wisdom in terms of like a guy proceeding with wisdom, or you got stereotypically the church musicians who can proceed messily, right? Where it's like, you dated the entire choir, right? So it's like, is that the type of energy you want? Where it's like, he's been talking, he approached me, but he approached her and her, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, you either shoot wisely or you just shoot every shot that comes.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what you gotta figure out.
Yeah. That's very good perspective, you guys. And
Mike, thanks.
Yes, affirmation. And just to add, dang it, I lost my train of thought. This was a good one too.
Not that good, apparently.
Okay, all right, we'll go to the next part. But yeah, hopefully that's a totally different perspective. Again, it's nothing wrong with you guys. It came to my mind. Thank you, Holy Spirit. All right, so it just left me again. Wait, Lord. Oh yes. So again, I was dating this girl one time. The same one that turned me down and was like, "Hey, the Lord told me you not it," and I was like, "Lord,
you just being disobedient.
I need to go back." So she told me she was like, it just seems like everybody she's tried to date before, it never worked out. Like she's never really been in a relationship. So I told her, this is probably a little after we stopped talking. I was like,
God told me you're my wife.
No,
that's a good line. You should try it.
I met you in the spirit realm. We're spiritually connected. I said, don't think of it as a bad thing that you have not dated or been in a bunch of relationships. God could literally be shielding her from a whole bunch of broken hearts. You don't have to have a bunch of broken hearts to figure out what's right. I don't believe that. I don't need to try crack cocaine and know that it ain't right. Or you don't have to do any of that. Like if you have it, like God can use broken relationships to show you different things, but you don't have to do it. So if you're not being pursued, don't look at it as something is wrong with me. He could be shielding you from a bunch of wolves. Or the guys could be going through a lot of issues that they need to be focused on with the Lord on. So that's a huge thing. Like I have a lot of guy friends, and my female friends are like, why they not shooting nobody? I'm like, well, if you knew what they was going through and they need to figure it out, you actually should be thankful that they're not bringing that burden on you at this point in time. So
that was some good game, Mike. He was like, there's a lot of wolves, but girl, I'm here for you.
Boy, you
I
did, yo. I fasted.
I met you in the spirit.
Let me tell you what I fasted. I told on a prayer call on Wednesday. I said, look, it's this girl I want to talk to.
Who was this girl?
I told him, that's a long story.
What did you do?
We only went out once. But it was fun. It was fun.
Okay, all right.
It was really fun.
We just praying, Mike.
So I said, look what happened when you really want something. You'll do some out of the ordinary stuff. How you bring it up on a prayer call? People talking about illnesses and you talking something, hey, I'm trying to date so and so.
I'm lovesick. That's all.
It's not.